This bulletin is coming to you live from Joy 99.7 FM in Accra. Our digital address GA0993341. It's also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi. Affiliates across the country including ATL FM Cape Coast, Radio Max Takrady, and around the world at myjoyonline.com. And coming up, mother allegedly kills 2 children at Tema. She admits she fed them rat poison because their father would not provide for their needs.
But when they woke up, you realized that the children were still sleeping and they were cold.
Our mental health literacy is very low. So when people show obvious signs of mental illness, we don't pick it up to even help them.
So police in the Savannah region arrest 1 more person in the murder of the 90-year-old woman at Kafaba. We'll bring you details. Also,
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين. اتقوا الله عباد الله واعلموا أن الله سبحانه وتعالى جعلكم شعوبا وكفر.
As Muslims celebrate Eid al-Adha festival, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia announces plans to improve education in Zongo communities.
We will build 16 model senior secondary schools in Zongo communities in each of the 16 regions in Ghana.
Local government minister under the Rawlings administration, Professor Kwame Nahoy, launches book detailing how Ghana rejected a U.S. request for the release of over 400 Ghanaians to America.
We wanted to take out all these persons, as well as their spouses, their children, and their parents.
We'll bring you more on the book exploring the inner workings of the Rawlings administration. And in Spotlight,
you can see what is going on here. The crowd is going crazy.
We put the spotlight on the music group which has literally hijacked Salah days in Ghana. These plus all you need to know about the launch of the Black is King visual album. Thanks for your time. I'm Araba Koomson. Now, police in Tema have arrested a mother suspected to have poisoned her 2 children. The children, a 2-year-old girl and an 8-month-old boy, were reportedly fed rat poison by their mother. The 28-year-old suspect, Abigail Abubia, is said to have told police she could not cater for the children because their father was not providing for their needs. Tema Region Crime Officer ACP Paul Frimpong narrates what happened.
Yesterday, 5:30 p.m. that we had information to that effect. So some of our officers went to the scene and noticed that there were 2 children on the bed who were pulled when to the touch. And they also realized that they were foaming from the mouth. So they asked of the mother, and they got to know of the mother, and the mother said the children had fallen the previous week and had taken them to hospital, and that the medicine is that the hospital gave them, that is what he was giving to them. And the night prior to the incident, they had given them some of the medicine. But when they woke up, he realized that the children were still sleeping and they were cold. So she had to go and tell the mother, and the mother asked 2 of the children, elder children, to come and see what was happening. So when they got there, they also realized that the children were dead. So that was what he was telling us. But when we saw that they were foaming from the mouth, we had suspicion that probably they would have taken some poisonous substance. So all the substances that we suspected to be medicine or whatever were taken by the police for further investigation.
So that's ACP Paul Frimpong. He's the Tema Region Crime Officer. Let's head on to the phone lines and speak to Joy News correspondent in Tema, Kwame Yanka. Kwame, you've been to the Mahia community where this incident happened. What have you gathered?
Well, the residents are actually shocked to the bone. But according to them, this is the very first time they are experiencing something of a sort, and they believe Abigail needs to be interrogated mentally, and then every other means to establish the truth behind. Because they believe it's quite unheard of. She's been in the community in the past 3 years, and for some months now, her behavior since they suspect she joined, a gang, so-called. So this needs to be investigated to the latter to get to the bottom of this. I mean.
And you've been speaking to a priestess who alerted the police about this incident. What has he been telling you?
Okay, so 77-year-old priestess Avoito Apronti, according to she takes Abigail as her daughter because she's known Abigail from childhood. So Abigail came to her yesterday, and once Abigail got to her, she asked of the children, and Abigail was unable to tell where the children were, and then she insisted that she should tell her the truth because anytime Abigail visited her, she came with the children, the 8-month-old baby, and for yesterday she didn't come with the baby. So the priestess asked what had actually happened to the children. Was fumbling, and the priestess asked that she's kept as some neighbors are saying to Abigail's wooden structure.
Dabia obeba no kitako danumu. Ene onumu diaglo ha. Iti wa ba o fa kodanu mbaye. Ami bisan mi hunu pe akodanumu wohi. Ombami. Isi akodanumu wohi. Na o si. Oye ni hu se ya o si. Akodanumu ha omi. Ye yinu free mi tema na mi hu atomi. We no free will tell Kohi. Ade, Ubanumu koto numana. And now the onumu koto kogu baby. Udi akodanumu koi. Baby udi akodanumu kwa. Chilaminami kofa akodanumu. Oyeku. Mitsa bisanu. They are on to me yina nunu. Ami catch me nana bakuse. Mufla police mami. Akodawe ajoemboni woniti. Ade. So that's 77-year-old priestess Avoito Apronti. She's a priestess who caused the arrest of the suspect Abigail Abubia after she failed to tell her the whereabouts of her children. Kwame is still on the line. Kwame, can you quickly translate what she was telling us?
Okay, so the priestess, by way of relation, and actually needed the children around because she said she's so fond of the children, and Abigail was just not trying to help. But her attitude in the last few days, she suspected that there was something wrong with children, and that's how come she sent some neighbors to go to Abigail's end to find out that what was really happening to the children. But they came with the sad news that the children were foaming at a point, and then she said, well, once her suspicions have been confirmed, then there was a need to call the police, hence the arrest.
And what about the father of the children? Has his attention been drawn to this sad incident?
Well, what I'm gathering from neighbors, including the priestess, is that the children's father does not live with the family here. He is somewhere else. So it's Abigail who is monitoring care of these children here.
All right, many thanks. Kwame Yanka is our Tema correspondent there with updates on that very terrible story. Now, what will make a mother take the lives of her own children? Dr. Eugene Dodoi is a consultant psychiatrist.
I've had a similar case in the hospital where the woman actually killed the baby because she said the baby was crying too much, so she only used a rope to tie the head of the baby just to stop crying, and the baby died. So these things are common, and so we invest in mental health care. We screen for mental health conditions like this. Because, from the report, this lady had symptoms which we saw earlier, but nobody thought she needed attention. It goes down to how mentally illiterate. So we have something called mental health literacy. As a country, our mental health literacy is very low. So when people show obvious signs of mental illness, we don't pick it up to even help them. It's quite unfortunate that the first thing we think we should do is to arrest her and send her through the criminal procedure. But I think we have gone this road before. Like I said, a woman killed her 5 children.
That's Dr. Eugene Dodoy. He's a consultant psychiatrist. Let's head to the Savannah region now because police there have arrested one more person in connection with the murder of a 90-year-old woman at Kafaba. A priest, with the help of some community members, allegedly lynched the frail woman on suspicion she was a witch. But the incident has led to widespread public condemnation, prompting the IGP to dispatch a specialist homicide team to fish for the perpetrators. Savannah region correspondent Isaac Nonya has been following the story. He joins us on the line with details. So Isaac, where did they pick up this person who is the latest to be arrested in connection with the incident?
That was Kejewu Bomto, under the East Gonja municipality. This community is about 5 to 6 kilometers away from the area where the incident happened. I'm talking about Kafaba. And she was picked at dawn, following a tip from people within the community, and that's of Salaga. You also know that the arrest of these other suspects, the 6 other suspects who are in custody, served as a good honor for the police to have leading to the arrest of this particular lady.
You talk about a particular lady. We're hearing reports that it's the woman at the center of this incident who fled when the video went viral. Is that the case?
She's not the key suspect, the lady you are talking about. But she happened to be a key accomplice who also comes from Upper West, one in the Upper West region. You know, Serena Fatima is also a native of Upper West. So it's probably that all the two other accomplices are also natives of Upper West. Latifa in particular, Tehene Bomanya, is alleged to be a native of somewhere around the community is around somewhere close to the Chief Palace, just behind the Chief Palace. But we don't know as to who he is, concerning relatives also. But she's very close to the other lady who led the torture of the woman that finally died.
All right, many thanks for that update. Isaac Nonya is our Savannah region correspondent. Today, Muslims around the world are celebrating Eid al-Adha, an Islamic festival to commemorate the willingness of Ibrahim to follow Allah's command to sacrifice his son. But like everywhere, the celebration in Ghana has been subdued as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. At a small gathering of Muslims in Accra, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia promised a big package to enhance education in Zongo communities.
Dedicated government agencies addressing issues affecting the Zongos and inner cities, especially on education and infrastructure development. So this means that, inshallah, from now on going, the Zongos will always be catered for in every budget. This is the first time in history. Every budget we will have allocations for the Zongos. On education, apart from the flagship free SHS and several children from the Zongos who are benefiting, the Zongo Development Fund and the ministry have prioritized education in the Zongos by building and renovating classroom blocks, ICT centers. They've constructed 37 ICT centers in many Zongos. Alhamdulillah, some of us are here where we are today because of education. So it is important to invest in education of our children to help them and our societies out of poverty. Still on education, through the Scholarship Secretariat and the Zongo Development Fund, 40 brilliant but less privileged students drawn from the Zongos and inner cities are currently in Cuba on a scholarship studying medicine. The government is more determined and committed to uplifting education in Zongo communities. And as a result, the President has decided that, inshallah, in his next term of office, through the Zongo Development Fund and the Ministry for Education, we will build 16 model senior secondary schools in Zongo communities in each of the 16 regions in Ghana.
Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia there. Well, spokesperson for the Chief Imam, Sheikh Ayubriel Shaibu, said the leader of the Muslim community wants to see an end to violence at the voter registration centers.
Ongoing voter registration exercise has been relatively smooth in most areas. It is also true that the exercise has witnessed some disturbing and scary security challenges. Most disturbing among Among them are the shooting of guns at some centers and the stabbing of an innocent citizen of our country. Such acts of aggression during simple voter registration must be condemned seriously. In the light of the above, we would like to use this opportunity to urge the security agencies to expedite investigations and punish perpetrators of the crime and lawlessness if they are found. Further, Your Excellency, we urge the youth of our nation to be strong and resolved to resist attempts by unscrupulous politicians to use them for violence against political opponents.
You had spokesperson for the Chief Imam, Sheikh Araba Koomson. Now, at the Avena market here in Accra, some sheep and goat sellers say the coronavirus pandemic has negatively affected their business. They say there's a reduction in the number of patrons who troop to the market during the celebration of Eid al-Adha. Maxwell Akokpa has more in this report.
People are here in this livestock market, a lot of them getting ready to buy some of them and take them away.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a sheep for my mom. Yeah, so we're trying to celebrate it very nicely in the Muslims way.
How much are they going for? Is it what you expected?
That's how it is. Prices goes up, down, but you just have to buy what your money is up.
We were quite impressed by the numbers that we saw, here. That one of the sellers I spoke to was telling me about how coronavirus has impacted the market, negatively impacted the market.
Yeah, the whole thing has spoiled. There's nothing in this system. We are just here since the day before yesterday up to now. They're not buying. We are just there. All of us are standing. No one is coming to buy. If they come, they'll say the money is high. The money is high. The money is high. The safety is very high. We can't bring the animals here. Everything is spoiling. Nothing is in the country.
How much are you selling?
This one is 2,600.
2,600. Okay.
And this one is 2,800. Previously, last 4 years, it wasn't like this. You get something like this, 1,500. But now, because of the rate of the coronavirus and they've closed all the borders, safer is very high. So this one like this, you can't sell it less than 2,000. The ones that we read that we are using because they can't bring animals inside. This is the one we are rearing. So it's very expensive.
Until now, I don't sell anything now.
Wow.
You see them? Nobody is buying it.
I see a lot of people driving here. Some of them have parked their vehicles.
Like that, they will come and stand and ask it, but we won't buy. They say the thing is the money is too high. So we don't know how to do. Pay the workers so that they will come and buy the things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when the people come here, they complain that they don't have money.
They say the government don't pay them. So they don't have money to buy.
I pray that later in the day the market will be good for you, yeah? The market chief is actually here. I want to speak to him, find out from him how business is going.
But things have been dull a little bit. We don't know whether it's the time or this thing. But we are hoping that it should be better, maybe some 2-3 hours to come.
Maxwell Ababa with that report. Away from Eid al-Adha, former local government and rural development minister Professor Kwame Nahoy has launched his book in which he shares details of how Ghana rejected a request by Donald Reagan for the release of 400 Ghanaians to America. This is one of the demands for the release of Rawlings's relative, Michael Susudis, arrested for espionage in the United States. He read portions of the book titled Working with Rawlings.
The Americans then sent a signal to Accra that they were prepared to negotiate an exchange between Michael Susudis and their Ghanaian assets. The government agreed in principle to the negotiated exchange in a return signal to them. The negotiations began in a very bizarre fashion. The CIA sent down to us, through the embassy in Accra, a list of almost 100 Ghanaians, including the names of some very prominent citizens, all of whom they claimed were their assets. They wanted to take out all these persons, as well as their spouses, their children, and their parents. The Americans provided their full details, including their addresses, their schools, in the case of the children, their workplaces, and various other particulars. They wanted to take these assets and their relations away to the USA by landing a C-130 military transport plane at the Tamale Airport to evacuate all of them in one flight. In all, about 400 Ghanaians were to be evacuated in the exercise. Gas Counterintelligence Unit went to work. They advised us to reject the proposal on 3 main grounds. One, the list clearly contained names of persons who could not possibly be CIA assets and was intended to destabilize Ghana's intelligence architecture. 2. The so-called assets acted as individuals. Their sins could not therefore be extended to their spouses, their children, and their parents. 3. The use of a C-130 military transport plane posed a grave security risk to Ghana. What if 500 U.S. Marines popped out of the plane and launched an attack on the country?
So that's Professor Kwamna Ahoy sharing details of how Ghana rejected a request by Ronald Reagan for the release of 400 Ghanaians to America. Professor Ahoy also shared how Rawlings, former President Rawlings, managed to convince him to serve in his second term despite earlier announcing his retirement. This happened during a special event to honor him.
On the appointed day, bedecked in my colorful kente cloth, in which I must admit I felt very uncomfortable, as I was not used to wearing cloth, and accompanied by my wife's comfort and my siblings, I reported at the venue for the event at the frontage of Parliament House. When it got my turn to be presented with a medal of the Officer of the Volta and the Scroll of Honor, President Rawlings held on to me for an unusually long time. What people did not realize was that he was talking to me. I still remember his words as if it were yesterday. Munia, he said, we started this journey together. Don't abandon me in the middle of the journey. Let us finish the journey together.
And former NMC chairman, who was also at the event, Yao Jan Penteng, said the book is by far the best account of the Rawlings administration.
Despite the boisterousness of that period, especially the early days, still that period remains opaque. We do not really have an insight into what went on, and of course it's a controversial period. So up to today you have those against, those for, but very little facts to go on. And so this has given rise to all kinds of theories and rumors about power struggles, personality clashes, policy challenges, etc. So I think the most important fact about this book is that it throws light on the inner workings of the Rawlings years. It is true the author says in the book, this is not a book about Rawlings, it's not a book about me, it's not a biography, etc. But indeed, it does more than that. I think that it illuminates that period like no other book has done before.
Yao Jan Penteng is former NMC chairman. You're listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. It's the special Eid edition. Just gone by. Mother allegedly killed 2 children at Tema. She admits she fed them rat poison because their father would not provide for their needs. Also, police in the Savannah region arrest 1 more person in the murder of 90-year-old woman at Kafaba. And as you heard, the local government minister under the Rawlings administration, Professor Kwamna Ahoy, has launched a book detailing how Ghana rejected a U.S. request for the release of over 400 Ghanaians to America. We're taking a short break. After the break, we bring you Spotlight.
You can see what is going on here. The crowd is going crazy.
I'll tell you about the music group which has literally hijacked Salah days in Ghana. These, plus all you need to know about the launch of the Blackest King visual album.
DSTV and the leaks that get the big boys are back.
Is your heart racing yet? I don't mind it.
Yeah, crowd near the live sports papa Ebrel. Gigi Dow couch muna budget favorite stars here. Well, what we are sporting leaks that get papa no so.
Sergio Aguero has conspired in the final. Cristiano Ronaldo! Something special for his hat-trick goal. Messi does it. A priceless goal from Lionel Messi. Drama from day one. This is the league we want to watch.
Central DSTV Lutum. Never start here. What support your money now? Biaba Kope. DSTV. Live sports Biaba Kope.
You're welcome back to the Midday News. Now, the Chief Executive of Engineers and Planners, Ibrahim Mahama, has supported some inmates of 4 institutions in the northern region, including the Tamale prisons and the Children's Home. Regional correspondent Martina Bogre has more.
Dedicated government agencies addressing issues affecting the Zungos and inner city.
Presenting the items on behalf of Mr. Mahama, his aide Rafiq Mahama said They decided to support the prisons because most often people lose sight of the Tamale prisons when donating. Therefore, their decision to support. He said this is not the first time they are donating to an institution.
I'm here to present this item to our brothers and sisters here. That's the Tamale Central Prison. We all know what is coming up tomorrow, which is Eid. And it's a period of sacrifice and a period of time that families come together. So we decided to support the image here with these items, and also just to tell them that we are solely behind them as they find themselves in confinement. Some of the items to the Tamale orphanage and also to our Muslim brothers and sisters, both the Imam and also the various mosques we have in town. And in total, we are donating 250 baskets, right?
Now, persons below 80 years will no longer be allowed to ride tricycles in the Asokore Mampong municipality of the Ashanti region. The measure is part of new bylaws by the local assembly to regulate operations of the passenger rickshaws, known locally as Pragia. Municipal Chief Executive Ali Duseidu told an assembly meeting volunteers will be deployed to ensure riders comply with traffic regulations. Ohim Interior reports.
Asokore Mampong Municipal accounts for about 90% of commercial tricycles in Greater Kumasi. Though statistics are not readily available, authorities say they are alarmed by increasing rate of road crashes involving Pragia. Alhaji Seidu tells Joy News the new bylaws also limits the number of passengers to 2 instead of 3 as pertains presently.
If you are not up to 80 years of age, you cannot ride. 2, you should not take more than 2 people, 2 passengers. You lose the privilege of riding Pragia if you take someone on the shoulder of the rider. You should follow the traffic protocol. You should not be seen to be overtaken. You also said that whoever is riding Pragia, you should appear with substance. You shouldn't just be in any form of address to just be there. On this matter, we made it a categorical statement in the bylaws. So these are some of the things. If you are found culpable, it will be dealt with. I wouldn't be on the street to stop them. I wouldn't be on the street to arrest.
Ali Duseidu is Municipal Chief Executive of the Asokore Mampong Municipality in the Ashanti region, ending that report by Ohim Interior. And it's time for entertainment, the Salah edition.
Yes, the Salah edition.
Becky, welcome back. I missed you.
Thank you very much, Rabs.
Who are we spotlighting today?
So they have always supported the Muslim community in Ghana over the years. PVIP organizes the Salah Fest, a concert that brings artists together to perform a Nima for the celebration of Eid. VIP is on spotlight today for their immense contribution to the Muslim community and the music industry.
Hey, what up? Vision in Progress, VIP, was made up of Lazy, known now as Zeal, Promzy, Prodigal, but initially also included Bone and Friction. Their initial involvement with music started way back in the early 90s at Nima, suburb of Accra. The founder of this group is actually Friction. Following the exit of Promzy, Reggie Rockstone, known as the godfather of Ghanaian rap, who back in the mid-90s, Christian, the new genre, hip life, joined the group.
After publicly declaring his intent to join the music group VIP, the hip life grandpapa, Reggie Rockstone, has finally been confirmed as the newest member of the group.
The new group's name changed to VVIP and have since produced smash singles like Selfie, Kolum, Dogoyaro, and many more. Salah Fest is a carnival to celebrate Ghana's largest congregation of Muslims at the end of Ramadan. The whole-day celebration of Eid in Nima draws audiences from across the entire country, especially residents of Accra and Kumasi.
As you can see what is going on here, the crowd is going crazy.
All right, so
it's going to be a Salah festival again this time around?
No, it's COVID.
It's COVID. Oh.
Yeah, but we can't leave without talking about already video, which is already out already. Yeah, and it's been trending on Twitter. Let me read some few comments. At Ifia Ankoma says, can we all clap for all these Ghanaian creatives who collaborated with Beyonce and showed our culture to the rest of the world? Kwesi Fojo, Dan Scott Lloyd, and Emmanuel A.J. Ghana Facts and History also says, we celebrate Shatta Wale today for putting Ghana on the map through his music. Congratulations, King.
Exactly.
What's Shatta saying, Araba?
Yes. On Twitter, Shatta says, I love #Beehive. Thank you for the support and the link with my Shatta Movement fans. Keep the vibes always. #Black is King. #Already Video. #Shatta Nation. And I'm told that the Sako Dear and Stoneboy,
myself, yourself, you know, people boy.
Yes, we must all be proud.
Of course, yeah.
King already, you know it. Shine already.
And on that interesting note, we end the news. Our top story, sad one. Mother allegedly kills 2 children at Tema. She admits she fed them rat poison because their father would not provide for their needs. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. I'm Araba Koomson. Have a good afternoon.